Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Catch up with our good buddy, Mr. Jake Bolks, Conservation Warden for the state of Wisconsin. Jake, how you doing there, big guy?
Doing great. Another nice Thursday. I see the sun just popped out when you called, so must be a sign.
It is, man. It is. And I know we're kind of wrapping up the month of July and that, and maybe getting a little bit closer to bow season, which in a couple weeks, too, I mean, we're going to have some tags going on sales, right? Like some antlerless tags and some other hunting tags going on sale.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that you're talking about training camps starting for football and bonus antlerless tags for deer coming, and duck season's around the corner. It feels weird. It doesn't feel like that time of year yet, but it's getting there. But yeah, those will be on sale a little under a month, 3 weeks here. So if you're getting, I know I've talked to plenty of guys that are out, brushing their lands or putting their trail cameras up and such. So might as well start looking at when the tags go on sale and everything like that.
Yeah, and there's a good link I know on the DNR's website that's got all the deadlines and dates that stuff kind of begin to go on sale and such. And a lot of them starts fairly quick here too. So be a good way to go check it out online.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be important to start looking at different application deadlines, different. Like you said, the bonus antlerless stuff, all that kind of stuff, because it starts ramping up here in the fall.
Because I believe next Friday is the deadline for like the bobcat and fisher permits and sharp-tailed grouse, if I remember correctly.
Yep. So you definitely want to get all that done. If you haven't, a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people do their patron's license, so that's a good way to do it, where right away when you buy your patron's license in the spring, it puts you in for a lot of those drawings or applications if you choose to at that point. But if you kind of do it a la carte, definitely jump on our website, find the season dates and application deadlines. It's pretty easy to find it on our website, and then start figuring out what you want to do and when you want to make sure you have your stuff in. But yeah, August 1st is the deadline for a few things, like you said, bobcat fisher, and then it's always the beginning of December, which is still a fair ways out, but that's going to be for like your 2026 turkey, bear, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned turkey, Jake, and I know I got the email the other day, kind of some of the results from the spring turkey hunting season, and it seems like there was increases across the board. What, a 14% increase in birds harvested from the 5-year average, increase in youth results and such. So it seems like it was a successful spring turkey season, correct?
Definitely a success. A lot of birds were harvested, like you said, from the youth all the way to the end of the season. I would assume that the mild winters are helping with that. Plenty of turkeys making it through the winter, plenty of poults being born in the spring. So a lot of that. I know that there's also, without getting too crazy into the numbers, I think there's going to be like a report or a column in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, but one of the wardens down in Madison, his name's Jake Bolks. He's a really good warden. He actually trained me when I first got hired. He's my first field training officer, but real down-to-earth guy, real good warden, and he's a really avid turkey hunter. And he's been working on basically a study on the number of spring turkey authorizations that don't get purchased, because a lot of people are automatically drawn in that second season when they put in December for $3, but they never end up going turkey hunting. Mm-hmm. And he found that there was about 20% of spring turkey authorizations that remained unpurchased by hunters that claimed landowner preference, and I think it was 10% that just never claimed them from getting drawn. So he's been working with the DNR, wildlife, and different areas to try to fix that, as well as with the Natural Resource Board. And I know thanks to his work, they did up the turkey permits by 3.5%, which is like 5,000 more tags last year, which helps people harvest more. So a lot of kudos to him to try to help, not fix necessarily, but like update the program to make sure everyone has an opportunity to get tags and hunt turkeys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad.
Kind of interesting.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I actually saved that article. It was on the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel a couple of days ago, and it mentions on there that he scoured the license data and determined about 1 in 4 hunters chosen for a tag through the annual drawing were not purchasing their awards too. So,
which is kind of I get it. It's a good process in order to get people, to get their tags early and make sure people have a preference if they're getting out there early and doing no early bird gets the worm, get your tags early. But if you're not going to hunt, it really affects other people that want to hunt. So, if you're going to buy tags, make sure to utilize those tags versus just getting them on your account. So I think there'll be more changes with that in the future, but I just wanted to bring it up that, wardens do a lot of different stuff. We enforce the laws, we do hunter safeties, we do this, we do that, and we also get our hands dirty with some of the registration and legal aspects of it to make sure that everyone has a fair opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And Jake, I know this isn't really kind of your area because you don't get to determine numbers and licenses, numbers, and all that sort of stuff. And I know some people have asked, why isn't there just maybe one tag for the whole season, and if you get one, maybe have extras available. But when I was reading from the press release, it said that these separate periods help maximize hunter opportunities while minimizing interference for a more sustainable harvest.
And there's different ways to look at it. I think there was a question in the spring hearings that asked about something like that, like change in the season, and every state does it different and this and that, but I guess when I moved to the state 14 some years ago and learned about the process, it was definitely different, but, both personally and professionally, I love it. It really, really minimizes that hunter interference, and it does give people opportunity, because the thing about turkey is you can hunt them 4th, 5th, 6th season and still have success. You got to hunt them a little bit differently, maybe with your decoy spread a little different or in a different area of your property, but you have opportunity, and you're not going to have to, race everyone that opening weekend and have, 40, 50 turkey hunters on a 40-acre state land piece. So it really helps spread out that, and I think it's a really good system we have here in Wisconsin.
And that's what I was going to kind of follow up when it says minimizing interference. It essentially means, not having a bunch of hunters in one area at the same time, correct?
Right. You got one flock of turkeys on a property, maybe 5, 8 Jakes and Toms, like legal birds, but you get there at 2, 3 in the morning and there's 40 pickup trucks parked on one road. Mm-hmm. Once you scare those birds, they're gone for everyone. So this way, it really does help spread the love per se. And if you have to wait an extra week or 2 or 3, and some people get frustrated here and there, but at the end of the day, I think it's a really good system we have going here. So I think that's something Wisconsin should be proud of.
And I think probably if you own your own land, you probably do want it for the whole season because you probably don't have to interfere with a lot of interference in that. So
that's exactly it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you don't have to. But the nice thing about that too is it's pretty cool when say someone has a bunch of land but they don't hunt it. It's nice when people come to ask to hunt your property, they can be like, yeah, you got first season, you got second, you got third, and again, it really minimizes those interactions not only in the field, but like when you're trying to, convince the farmer to give you first crack at it, or it opens the land to more hunters than just like, oh, I already got one guy here, So it's a good process, and I just wanted to bring it up because I think a lot of kudos to Jake Denar, the warden out of Madison, to run those numbers and take it upon himself to try to better the sport for everybody.
Yeah, it's a really interesting piece. If anybody wants to read it, it's online right now. It was posted a couple days ago, but I'm glad you mentioned that because I did save it and such too. So, I know because I think we even talked about it maybe at the beginning of the spring season about the tags and how many people are actually using them and such, because it seems like that's been a topic for a little bit at least.
Yeah, nope. I think some people kind of saw the correlation in the last couple of years, and it's slowly come to the light, or coming into the limelight a little bit here, and it's being discussed. And like anything, it's just how can we do it the most efficiently, where everyone has a fair chase opportunity, as well as has their best opportunity to harvest an animal.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Jake, I'll just throw this out as a question, just in case anybody else, maybe has to deal with this. I already know the answer, but I'll ask you just in case. So I picked up a John boat a couple weeks ago. All right, I want to do a little duck hunting and such. Now, do I have to register the boat if I'm just going to put a trolling motor on it?
Yeah, no, great question. I get that question a lot when it comes to duck hunting. Two parts. So, do I need to register a boat if it's just a trolling motor, just an electric motor? And then another question is, do I need to register a boat if I'm only using it for duck hunting? So the answer to that is you got to register it for both of them. So anytime you're using a watercraft, like a boat, the term is watercraft, because a watercraft can be anything. It means that you could put a couple pallets together and put a trolling motor on it, and you got to register that thing. So anytime you have a boat with any sort of motor on it, whether it's an electric motor, internal combustion, a gas motor, it doesn't matter, a diesel, a steamboat, doesn't matter. Like, if you have a motor on a boat or on a watercraft, something that you're using for transportation, you have to have it registered. So in Minnesota, if you have a little John boat and you only use it for duck hunting, you're actually exempted from having to have it registered. So I get that question a lot, because obviously we live closer to the Minnesota border. And then, especially on small lakes like Half Moon Lake here in town, a lot of people, I roll up to the boat launch and they got a little John boat with a electric on there, and they're not registered. So I have that conversation a few times every summer. So you got to register it. I think it's like $20 for 2 years or $30 for 2 or 3 years. It's very reasonable. But it's definitely something that if you don't have that sticker on the side of the boat, you're going to get pulled over by a warden for it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important to note, too, because I'll just say I noticed this, I won't say where, last week and such, but, with the boat registrations, they all end on March 31st, right? So even though if it says 2025, they all end on March 31st. So even though it's 25, it doesn't mean you're good for this year. So I think that's probably a good reminder for a lot of people.
No, that is good. I guess, I get used to that. So that's a good point, is that the year you see on there is the year it expires. Mm-hmm. They always do it intentionally March 31st before the boating season, so that you can get it re-upped, and then it's good for that boating season plus the next couple. So it's kind of the best bang for your buck. But you're right. It's March 31st, 2025, which is like what all the expired ones would be this year. Again, not to keep bringing in Minnesota, I just know we have a lot of Minnesotans that either live out here, recreate out here, or whatnot, and I see plenty of Minnesota boats. Minnesota's different, too. So Minnesota, theirs actually expires December 31st. So if you see a Minnesota boat, it says 25 on it, they're actually good. That's something we have to know as a warden, so we're not making, the wrong stops, but also it's just good for the public to know. So if you're going in between states, it's a good reminder that every state has their own rules, and you got to follow that state. You can't go to Wisconsin, or you can't go to Minnesota with an expired boat here and expect them just to, be like, oh, okay, not a big deal, it's expired. They'll write you a ticket in Minnesota just like they would here if it's expired. But everyone has different rules and guidelines, so make sure you are cognizant of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of nice, though, too, because all the DNR licenses kind of expire on that March 31st. So it's like one date for everything, correct?
Yes, yes. They try to make it as simple as possible. Unless there's some other reason it doesn't, it doesn't need to expire at that time of year or something like that. It's later. Though I think maybe like snowmobile, they push out to like June or maybe June 31st, just in case there's snow in March. Mm-hmm. So it's not in like the middle of the season when they switch it. They definitely try to do them all on the same time. That March 31st, I always kind of joke, like April Fool's Day is the day for your new DNR licenses. Like when everyone starts making the classic April Fool's jokes, it should remind you to go go buy your patrons license and re-register your boats.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Jake, I know, too, really quick to wrap it up, we've had a lot of rain here. I got to imagine the rivers are high, so, if anybody's doing any fishing on the river and such, pay extra special attention to safety.
Right. It'll all be moving down here in the next day or two. I did see the weather this morning. It looks like south of Eau Claire is where a lot of that rain ended up, and they got 3, 4, 5, 6 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So especially if you could jump on the Chippewa, Red Cedar, the Black River, especially south of Eau Claire, all that water is going to go from all these little creeks and tributaries into these main streams and really get it pumping. So yeah, in the next day or two, if you're getting out on the Black or the Chippewa, and especially down, the Mississippi south of there, it's going to be moving. So the water will be brown, it'll be chocolatey, the fishing it'll be fine, but just be cognizant of like stronger corners, eddies behind bridges. That's where a lot of people get caught up and stuff like that. And the boats usually can handle a lot of this stronger current fine, but we have a lot of people that tube or kayak or canoe, and this is when that river can really make it hazardous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Jake, hey, we appreciate the time as always, buddy. Good stuff. Be safe out there, and we'll catch up with you again soon. Okay, sir?
Yeah, sounds great. You guys have a great rest of your week and weekend.